was December 18, 1980, when Mrs. Marchan's husband called her and asked if they could meet up to talk. Her husband asked if she would like to go to America. Mrs. Marchan froze and did not know what to say. She asked why America and why a vacation since they were struggling economically. Then her husband explained that he was invited to Inisa's quince and that he had also recently been able to get tourist visas. Days passed, and after Mrs. Marchan thought about it, she came up with the decision that she wanted to go. At the time, her husband was a construction worker and she was a librarian. They were both living in the same town, Santa Catarina and Monterrey. 4 years prior to that, Mexico had discovered huge oil reserves in the Bay of Campeche, and the president at the time wanted to get the oil, but in order to get the oil, the government would need to borrow huge sums of foreign money at high interest rates. So they borrowed it and got into debt, only to discover that the oil was of low grade. This left Mexico with the world's largest foreign debt. Due to this incident, Mrs. Marchan and her husband really struggled to get jobs, and since they had a daughter, it was even harder for them to live a stable life. Mr. Marchan's husband worked 12 hours a day for $5 worth of pay. They barely managed to go by. Once Mrs. Marchan and her family got their tourist visas, they got ready for their trip to a new country. They traveled in a bus, and it took about 2 days to get to Chicago. Mr. Marchan was really scared because she didn't speak English. She thought she wouldn't be able to communicate with anyone and wouldn't have a good time. When they got off the bus, the first thing they saw was a lady selling tamales, and her husband's family was waiting for them at the exit. Her husband's family was really nice and even bought them food at McDonald's. Mrs. Marchan took a bite at her Big Mac, and she said it was delicious. A week later after that was the quince, and Mrs. Marchan really enjoyed the party. She also noticed that the party had almost no difference than the one in her hometown. Days later, she asked her husband when they were going to return. Her husband asked, "Why do you want to return? Don't you like it here? It has more jobs and the best education our daughter could have. Not to mention that we could be getting paid way more here." She realized that he was right and said it was a great idea to stay at least until her daughter of age 10 finished college. Days passed and her husband got a job at a carpet installation company. Finally, Mrs. Marchand got used to living in America and had gotten a liking to her life. Years later, after their arrival, they had a child named Rolando. They had such big pride in him because he was a full American citizen. Mrs. Marchand still remembers the day when her entire life changed. She never expected to live a life without the worry of having food on the table and having such an amazing life.